There are headlines suggesting, Minister, that the PCR requirements will be removed, the testing rules, because we're having enormous problems with train deliveries, bin collections, and indeed in education. Can you confirm that this morning? Good morning.
Good morning and Happy New Year to you, Nick.
Well, Happy New Year to you, Gillian, if I may call you that.
You may call me that. No, I can't confirm it, but I know that because of the absolute just huge amount of lateral flow tests that we're doing, they are looking at the testing regime all the time. They're keeping it under review. So I know that they are looking at what makes sense, because obviously now most people are doing many lateral flow tests in a week, or, you know, a couple of times a week at least. So they are looking now, because we know that there's quite a high positivity rate with PCR tests.
When might a decision be taken, Minister?
I think it's, you know, within the next day or two. They're obviously looking at what makes sense. We keep these things under review all the time. But one of the things we've done over Christmas is work very hard to triple our lateral flow test capacity, so that we will have 350 million for January and another 350 million for February. So, and we had our largest day yesterday, where we sent out 741,000 to people's homes. So we are, I think, testing using lateral flow tests more per head than any other country in the world. So obviously that is a big part of our testing regime with Omicron.
Minister, what would your message be? Because some people are saying that they're trying to get these tests for themselves or their children. They're experiencing enormous frustrations, whether it be at pharmacies or even online. Obviously, this is quite a figure that you're trying to attain. What is your message to them? Do you accept that there are perhaps currently some bumps in the supply chain that need to be worked through?
Yeah, there's been a massive surge in demand. You know, people are using them before they go out for meals, before they go to schools, before they go to work, before they go to see an elderly relative, etc. So there's been a massive surge in demand. So it has taken us, you know, a bit of time to make sure that we've got everywhere, because people were going and you know, they were running out very quickly. But we do have enough lateral flow tests, and we are urging people, if you go on the website and you don't have any available, then try a little bit later and keep trying. In fact, I was on a group yesterday where people were frustrated they couldn't get them, and then they opened up again and everybody ended up getting them that afternoon. So do keep trying. They are there, they are available. As I say, 741,000 packs were sent out in a single day yesterday. So and we'll be doing that, and we'll be continuing to do that, and we're looking to increase that capacity even further. Do
you think in a sort of a week's time then these problems, these bumps will be ironed out then, broadly? Give you about a week or so, Minister.
I would say people should keep trying, you know, today, tomorrow. There's lots going into the system every day, whether it's going through pharmacies or it's going to the home systems as well. Every day there's more and more going in. So keep trying. But it certainly will feel a lot easier as we get to 350 million within the month, which is effectively tripling our capacity. So that obviously will make a difference. And of course, people surge forward at the beginning, and then they've got some boxes at home. So it becomes a little less everybody looking to get them at once. Turning
to what we heard from the Prime Minister yesterday, he said that we should ride this out, and possibly in some instances you should try and get a lift or call a taxi to go to hospital if you had a heart condition. If I were to collapse in front of you with a heart attack, Gillian Keegan, would you try and get me an ambulance, or would you pack me off in a car, in a cab?
Well, I would try and get you an ambulance. I mean, we've obviously... the whole system is under pressure. There is absolutely no doubt. And, you know, we anticipated there would be a lot of pressure this winter. Obviously, Omicron has even added to that. But we did, you know, we have more ambulance crews in operation than we've ever had. Actually, another 500 crews in the last couple of years have been put on. We've also invested £55 million in ambulance alone to make sure that we can staff to cope with the pressures. Now, I know there's a lot of pressures in the system, but, you know, we expect that you know, for all of that, you can rely on getting to the hospital if you are an emergency like a heart attack. That's one of the most critical cases.
So you don't agree with him then that people with a heart condition should try and get a minicab? You don't agree with that?
Are you saying a heart attack or...?
Well, a heart attack then. Let's say heart attack.
I thought you said heart attack.
Yeah, cardiac arrest.
No, I think if you have a heart attack, you should call the emergency services. You should explain you've got a heart attack. You'll be put at the top of the queue, and you know, you will get the people who can help you along the journey as well. I mean, obviously, you know, if people can go to a hospital with a relative taking them or whatever, well, that's what we do today if you think it's going to be quicker.
Yes.
But if somebody needs urgent medical attention, then that's what our ambulance service is there for, and that's what we've invested making sure it's there for.
Just a couple of last things in another area, reminding, of course, the listeners that you are the Care Minister. There is considerable concern about people, perhaps the lower end of the scale, as regards this energy price storm that's coming their way, and it would appear the Prime Minister rejecting calls to cut VAT on fuel last night. Those, as I say, living perhaps without rather straitened circumstances, this is going to cause enormous problems, isn't it, in April? Surely the government should be trying to help them, Minister.
Well, absolutely, and that's why we have been very focused on those, particularly, as you say, at the lowest earnings level. So first of all, obviously the increase in the earnings, which is the national living wage, and also the change to the taper rate, which will make a massive difference, a couple of £1,000s a year between the two of them. But we also, specifically for fuel, have a number of schemes, and we've also invested additional payments, money we've given to local authorities. So if somebody is struggling, then they should contact their local authority. There's a number of schemes, cold weather payments, winter fuel allowances, etc., which they may be eligible for. But if they're struggling, there's a specific fund that we've given to local authorities for those people who are really feeling the pinch and particularly can't afford their fuel bills.
But wouldn't an easy way to do that would be to cut VAT on fuel, Minister?
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure it would. I mean, obviously, we've got a global crisis in terms of gas pricing. It's global markets that are driving it.
Why should the government
VAT
make money out of
on
poor people?
fuel is 5%. It's very, very low. It is very low. So I don't think you would find that would combat the global markets and the impact of the global markets.
But if I'm bouncing on the bottom, that 5% could be as much as 50, 60, 70 pounds. That could make all the difference. Why should the government make money out of me if I'm bouncing on the bottom and I need to heat the house for my children?
That's why we put a more targeted system in place. So if you're in that situation, there is a specific fund which each local authority has for people in that situation, specifically for fuel bills and other emergencies that people may have. So it's much more targeted. Obviously, VAT, everybody pays. It's much more targeted.
OK, lastly, and this is probably one of the most key questions in politics at the moment, should Anthony Charles Linton Blair be Sir Tony Blair? Minister.
Well, I mean, I think it's not unusual that previous prime ministers of the country have been ennobled in this way.
It is unusual
and I
that
believe
500,000
this
people choose to stop it, of course, Minister. I refer you to
well,
that.
of course, but I think this is something that's an honour that's bestowed by the Queen. So obviously the Queen makes those decisions, but it's not unusual. He has been prime minister of this country for quite a long time. He was prime minister of this country, so I don't think it's something that is particularly unusual.
So it should be afforded to all
imagine.
PMs, as and when Boris Johnson in 20 years' time he decides to go and spend more time with his children, he should also get a knighthood.
Well, I wouldn't be saying whether he should or shouldn't. I'm sure the Queen will be looking at all cases very, very carefully. But I think it's not unusual for somebody who served their country as Prime Minister to be honoured and recognised by the Queen. That isn't unusual.
Grateful for your time as ever, Gillian Keegan. Thank you. Happy New Year again to you, Care and Mental Health Minister, appearing on LBC 3.